Welcome to Trauma for Christ. In this episode, we explore one of the most dramatic stories in the Bible, Samson and Delilah, a man blessed with supernatural strength, a secret that held his power, and a betrayal that changed everything. Join us as we dive into Judges 16 and uncover the powerful lessons about temptation, weakness, and God's redeeming grace. Have you ever heard of a man so strong he could tear a lion apart with his bare hands? A man who could slay 1,000 enemies with nothing but the jawbone of a donkey? This isn't a comic book superhero. This is the story of Samson, a legend whose life was a whirlwind of divine power, passionate love, and devastating betrayal. Our story begins with Samson at the height of his power, a Nazarite, a man consecrated to God from birth. He was blessed with supernatural strength. He was Israel's champion, a one-man army against their oppressors, the Philistines. He single-handedly set their fields ablaze using 300 foxes, and he effortlessly carried away the massive gates of one of their cities. To the Israelites, he was a symbol of hope. To the Philistines, he was an unstoppable force of nature, a terrifying enigma they desperately needed to solve. But every hero has a weakness, and for Samson, his was not a hidden vulnerability, but a desire that would lead him down a path of ruin. His journey takes him to the Valley of Sarek, a place whose name itself whispers of choice and consequence. And it is here that he meets her. Delilah. Her beauty was captivating, her charm irresistible. Samson, the strongest man on earth, was instantly smitten. He fell deeply and passionately in love, believing he had found his soulmate. He saw in her a future, a love to match the fire in his own spirit. But Delilah saw something else entirely. She saw an opportunity. The lords of the Philistines, frustrated and humiliated by Samson's continued triumphs, saw this new love as their golden chance. They were powerful, wealthy men, but they were powerless against Samson's might. So they turned to a different kind of warfare, deception. They approached Delilah in secret, their proposal a venomous whisper of greed. Find the source of his great strength, they urged, and how we can overpower him. Do this, and each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver. It was a staggering fortune, enough to secure a lifetime of luxury. The temptation was overwhelming. Faced with a choice between love and immense wealth, Delilah made her decision. Her heart, once a prize for Samson, was now for sale. The seduction began, not of the body, but of the soul. Delilah transformed her affection into a weapon. "Please, tell me the secret of your great strength," she would coo, her words laced with sweet poison. "Tell me how you can be tied up and subdued." Samson, though blinded by love, was not yet a fool. He saw the game she was playing, but he played along, perhaps enjoying the dance, confident that his secret was safe. "If they tie me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried," he told her, "I will become as weak as any other man." So Delilah procured the bowstrings. While Samson slept, she had the Philistine soldiers hide in the room. Then she cried out, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." Woke and snapped the bowstrings as if they were threads scorched by fire. His secret remained safe. Delilah was undeterred. She pouted, feigning hurt feelings. "You have made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come now, tell me how you can be tied." This time, Samson offered another deception. "If they tie me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man." Once again, the trap was set. New ropes were brought, the soldiers hid, and Delilah raised the alarm. And once again, Samson broke the ropes from his arms as if they were mere threads. Twice she had tried, and twice she had failed. Her frustration grew, but so did her resolve. She accused him, her voice sharp with manufactured disappointment. "Until now, you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me how you can be tied." Samson, still playing this dangerous game, gave her a third, more intricate lie. "If you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pin, I will become as weak as anyone else." Delilah did exactly as he said. She meticulously wove his long hair into her loom. Then, with the Philistines lying in wait, she shouted her familiar warning. Samson awoke and pulled up the pin and the loom, with the fabric still entangled in his hair. He had made a mockery of her efforts once more, but this was the turning point. The game was over. Delilah's pretense of love now curdled into relentless, soul-crushing pressure. She stopped asking with charm and started nagging with venom. Day after day, she pressed him, wearing him down, not with ropes or looms, but with words. How can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? This is the third time you have made a fool of me and have untold me the secret of your great strength. Her words were a constant torment, a psychological siege that his superhuman strength could not repel. He was weary, tired to the point of death. His love for her had become a prison, and he was about to give her the key. Finally, broken and exhausted, Samson confessed everything. He told her the sacred truth he had guarded his entire life. "No razor has ever been used on my head," he admitted, his voice heavy with resignation, "because I have been a Nazirite, dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man." He had given her his heart, his body, and now his very soul. In that moment of complete vulnerability, he laid his head upon her lap and drifted into a deep sleep, trusting her completely. It was the last peaceful rest he would ever know. Delilah knew this was the truth. She sent a message to the Philistine lords. "Come up once more. He has told me everything." They arrived, the silver coins clutched greedily in their hands. As Samson slept, the picture of peaceful trust, Delilah called in a man. The cold steel of a razor touched his head. One by one, the 7 sacred locks of his hair, the symbol of his covenant and the source of his power, fell to the floor. As the last lock was cut, a profound change occurred. It was as if his very life force was draining away. But Delilah, seeing the transformation, let out a final, triumphant cry. "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He awoke, shaking himself as he had before, thinking he could escape as always. "I'll go out as before. I'll go out as before and shake myself free." But he did not know that the Lord had left him. This time, when the Philistines rushed in, there was no resistance. The giant was gone. The strongest man in the world was helpless. In their cruel victory, they seized him and gouged out his eyes, plunging him into a world of eternal darkness. They bound him with bronze shackles and took him to Gaza, where he was forced to grind grain in the prison. The champion of Israel, the man who single-handedly defeated armies, was now a blind, broken slave, an object of public ridicule. His love had cost him his strength, his freedom, and his sight. But in that dark, miserable prison, something began to happen. Day by day, week by week, month by month. Forgotten by his enemies who reveled in their victory, Samson's hair began to grow back. His covenant, though broken, was not entirely erased. The Philistines decided to hold a great festival to celebrate their triumph, offering a massive sacrifice to their god Dagon, who they credited with delivering Samson into their hands. The temple was packed with thousands of people, from the common folk to the 5 ruling lords. The atmosphere was electric with celebration and mockery. "Bring out Samson to entertain us," they roared. So they brought the blind Samson from the prison and made him stand between the 2 central pillars of the temple, the very foundation of the massive structure. The crowd jeered and laughed, delighting in the fall of their once greatest fear. Samson, standing in darkness, felt the cold stone of the pillars beneath his hands. In his humiliation and despair, he turned his heart back to the one he had forsaken. He prayed a final, desperate prayer. "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just one more time, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." He placed his right hand on one pillar and his left hand on the other. He braced himself, a forgotten fire reigniting within him. Then, with a final guttural roar that echoed with all his past glory and present agony, he pushed. He poured every last ounce of his divinely restored strength into that one final act. The great stone pillars groaned, cracked, and then gave way. The entire temple, a monument to Philistine pride, came crashing down in a cataclysm of dust and screams. In his death, Samson achieved his greatest victory. He killed more Philistines in that single moment than he had in his entire life. The man who lived by incredible strength died by it, bringing down the house on his enemies and himself, a tragic and powerful end to a legendary life. His story serves as a timeless warning about the intoxicating power of love. the corrosive nature of betrayal, and the devastating consequences of trading a divine gift for a moment of human weakness. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of legendary figures from history. See you in the next video.